What's good, my babes? Welcome back to another recap here with your girl. I'm Ash. If you are new here, welcome to Ash Recaps. Consider me your TV bestie. We come, we chop it up, we talk, we gossip, as besties do, about our favorite episodes from these TV shows. As you can see, we're doing Marriage at First Sight. This is episode 7, Jamaican Me Crazy, and jumping all right into it. Y'all know things ended on a very bad note, with Clint and Gina, with this whole preference on his dating. And the fact of the matter is his wording unfortunately didn't sit well with some of the other ladies, let alone his wife. And his unwillingness to be able to understand and see where that could have been offensive for some of the other ladies as well as for Gina is kind of really what put that distance, between them two. But, because Gina was just like, nope, for the whole trip, I'm done. I don't want to talk. I don't want to be around you, blase, blase, blase. But they were able to overcome. They were able to overcome. They were able to overpass. All in all, really, it's, you know, I'm not even gonna make it seem like, oh, it's a no. Let's just go in and just say what I feel like that it is basically. Like Clint is there's you just can't, is not always going to be everybody's cup of tea. And Clint is very blunt. He's gonna say whatever. He's straightforward, no qualms about it. Unfortunately, it just did not happen. That conversation just was not for the group. They had already had a conversation. I get, he was trying to still just give a background, to everybody else. What does it really matter? Why do the rest of the other groups need to know what you typically go for? So I kind of feel like it definitely was like more of an ego thing, a tit for tat type of thing, because she made comments about she not being, attracted to redheads, things like that. And so I think it was like a little hit to the ego, and he kind of just basically shot back, whether it be true or not. But the delivery did not go well. It ended up offending some of the other ladies, and then of course, like I said, it just that conversation just shouldn't have been, not let alone in front of the whole group. Like I don't feel like everybody needed to know like what your preference was. Now, granted, it sounded like they might have been having a conversation about it in the first place. So, okay, that's where it came from. But delivery just did not go well. And so Clint did the right thing. He addressed the room. He addressed everybody. But what sucks is it kind of like, and it's so crazy because I was watching the after party and they literally were talking about exactly what I was thinking. I was like, Clint, just say you're sorry. Like, do we have to go over this whole spill, this whole story? And basically, Nicole confirmed with us that basically he turned this apology into basically a long, drawn out story instead of just getting to the point. And it gave like, wait, so did he ever apologize? Did he ever really apologize to Gina? I don't know, but they seem to be able to, are willing in the moment to still go ahead, just try to move forward and, you know, I guess start, afresh. I definitely feel like this though is, I don't know. I don't, for some reason, I don't see them being able to move past these circumstances, but so easily. But we're going to see, you just never know. So they were getting a little bit, in a little bit deep. I ain't gonna say we're getting a little bit deep, but they basically decided to go ahead, kind of like, I think that was it Gina that basically asked, how would everybody, it was either Gina or it was Nicole, that basically how would you, like rate your spouse based on where you are, like not just rate your spouse like as far as looks, attraction, like just like the overall where y'all at. And mostly everybody was pretty much on the same page, with where they were. So going over it, y'all. Mac and Dominique, both were like a 7.5. Now Mac did give that number, first off, and we see that Dominique really is not very welcoming and forthcoming with Mac's attitude and his way of going about things. She had already expressed that, she doesn't necessarily find that attractive. So I was like, okay, for them to be at a 7.5, she very well could have been agreeing with him about it just to save face and her feelings, which I definitely feel like that might have been a thing with not just them or whatever or whatnot. Nicole and Chris, I'm not surprised that they're at an 8.2. They're really, going well, going good. Shaq and Kirsten, I feel like Kirsten might have been a very well lie. I do believe she was the one who put the number out first, in which she said a 7. And I still just feel like there's just something about Kirsten that's just not, I don't know. It's something just off there a little bit for me. Something that's still just missing. It's looking good when they're together, but why do I just feel like they do not be getting a lot of camera time compared to some of the other couples? And going through my notes, I was like, I don't have nothing written down for like them like at all. Like, what are we missing here? Like, what is really going on? Do they just not have nothing going on? Is it, I know one thing that still just stuck in my head was basically on the after party. I want to say we either episode 6 or episode 5. And, um, Shaquille was talking about how basically, Kirsten is one way in front of the cameras, and then she's kind of like a different way, behind the cameras. And maybe that him saying that alone plus my opinions of how they were going about it because she wasn't initially attracted to him is what is keeping me like on this road, because I'm seeing them, they're like hugged up and they're cuddled up and they're holding their hands, and you're seeing like them, I guess you would think chemistry growing, but at the same time we're seeing previews, and who knows, they could be mixing it up or whatever or whatnot, but it looks like she's saying that there is no chemistry. So is she really just trying to put forth this effort, and then with her putting the effort in, it's still nothing? Or, like I said, the producers, it just knows how to reel us in, and they could be mixing up, the wordings with the questions and things like that to make it look a certain way. So, Gina and Clint, for where they are, there were 5.5. With what just happened, both of y'all, I guess, initially not being attracted to each other, so to speak, which I feel like is just so crazy because I feel like Clint was definitely attracted to her. And I guess I'm not, just to say that just because he said that that's what he normally is attracted to or normally dates doesn't mean he doesn't find her, attractive. Like Gina, I feel like is a really, beautiful, pretty girl. So, I very well just feel like it was just an ego hit for him, and it was best to kind of like tag her back, to even out the playing field, for him. And then lastly, Eris and Jazz, which also said like a 7. I think he said a 7, and I think she said the 7.5, in which again lies. And basically, it's given like clearly the guys know that that's a lie. Like the guys know that he does not find her, attractive or whatever or whatnot, or at least is not his usual type or whatnot. So for him to put that out there, I definitely feel like he was trying to save face. And I'm glad that even, he kind of like basically got caught out on it by Chris, by when he asked, well, do you see yourself, falling in love or whatever, and y'all, Eris, he, as I kept saying, there's something about Eris. There's something about Eris that's just not like, and even like, yeah, I think I can't even remember what it was, but he was talking about, he had said something or else that just was talking about sex or was referencing sex or whatever with his wife. And I'm just like, but how do you get these thoughts and whatever when this is the person that you're saying is giving you friend vibes, or you're not attracted to, she's a 4 or a 5 or whatever or whatnot? Like, I I feel bad for Jasmine, because I honestly don't think that this is going to end up and pan out the way that probably like she's hoping for. I don't think that she's going to get it. I don't think that they are going to stay married. I'm going to go ahead and just put that out there already. Eris is not ready. That's where I'm at, y'all. That's where I'm at. You disagree? I definitely want to know. Definitely talk to me, down below. It's something that's just like, And maybe that's just it. Maybe he's just not a no. I know it's not the whole attraction thing because I've been feeling a way about him like ever since. Like just like yeah, just no. Like I don't necessarily feel like I really understand and really get him deciding that he wanted to go ahead and move in on with this process. Um, I feel like in the beginning he might have been talking about just like the long distance relationships or just not relationships that didn't. I don't know. He just does not give off. I'm ready to be married and settle down like that. That's just not what I see. So that's where we're at with the ratings or whatever. One thing for sure, it left it very just even just awkward. It even seemed like because I feel like he was trying to fish for words, trying to find something to say, and it was just like yeah, you just kind of need to shut up at this point, like yeah, no. So getting down to like the individual couples and what have been going on in this episode, y'all, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Matter of fact, no, let's go ahead and just stay on Eris and Jasmine, because basically he does end up telling her that he does basically just get the friendly vibes from her. And of course, as expected, Jasmine is like, she's taking it in well, but on the side, she's like, yeah, no, I didn't get married like to have a friend. Like yes, to have a friend, but not for us to be feeling, friendly and friendly vibes. And it's at the same time, it's like that's not so bad. You want to be friends with your spouse, you want to be friends with your significant other. Um, and I can get maybe trying to build that friendship first, but at the same time, because y'all are already so zoomed into this process, we found that I feel like that doesn't always work out that way, you know? And by work out that way, I think I just basically mean that, people trying to start off with the friend and trying to build the friendship and just being friends first and, whatever. It's those are the relationships that did not necessarily work. Like y'all already jumped into this, you might as well jump into this. And let's figure out what we need to do to go ahead and get this chemistry flowing, get the sexual chemistry flowing, get the bonds growing, whatever. I have plenty of time like to it's just already accelerated. Like, am I making sense a little bit? I hope I'm not like just sounding crazy, but it's just like, what is the point of I don't want to say like necessarily rushing things, but at the same time of taking your time when you've already decided to catapult yourself into a fast process of basically being legally binded to another person. So, he just feels like he needs time. He needs time. He needs time. And I just feel, and it's clearly him. It's clearly him. And I don't know if, but at the same time, like, even though I'm still confused on the whole Shaq and Kirsten situation, you see them trying to form that chemistry, I guess, so to speak, like they're touching each other and things like that. And it's just like, okay, I'm thinking, she isn't moving because she's following his lead, but it's just like in order to kind of get there, we got to start taking some steps, some places. And us trying, you getting this friend vibe. No, we need to get you out of this friend vibe. So let's hold my hand a little bit more. We're gonna touch, like, let's get out of that by actively doing things to get out of that and not necessarily taking time. I hope that makes sense. Like y'all let me know definitely y'all thoughts on, about Eris and where he's at. Like am I crazy? Like is it me? Maybe because I'm a girl and he's a guy, so I need feedback. Y'all let me know. Y'all gotta talk to me about that one. Y'all gotta talk to me about that one. But I was annoyed because y'all know, it's the end of the honeymoon and then they go ahead and move in with each other. And so he was just like, y'all know they deck out, the their apartments with all this hubby and wifey paraphernalia, and like they have like this whole big old board with like their names on it, and he's just like, yeah, I'm a little overwhelmed with all the like, all right, like if this was enough, the t-shirts that I like, I'm done. And I'm like, bro, like, one, girls give off on this. We are married. We want all the good stuff that shows and represents that we are married and that you is my man. And I'm not saying that men aren't into that too, but I know us women like, but and then as well, I guess it's the first time somebody's like literally saying like, wow, all right, all this wifey hubby stuff is too much. Bro, you are wifey hubby. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's even the little things for me, y'all. It's even down to the little things, for me. And I just feel for Jasmine. I'm not gonna lie though, I have to give it to him because I was not expecting him to have the house that he had. I was like, oh, okay, that's all you. That's all you, son. Like that's all you. Like clearly, like I don't know, maybe he's renting it. I don't really know because I know he was, talking about them getting a place together, and that's not even just to say that if he did buy it, that doesn't mean that he's not willing to still find a mutual and share space with her versus just moving into his place, but. I ain't gonna lie, that kind of took me aback. And as well, I was glad to see, with her, because I was kind of with her on it, like his whole, the workout stuff and, just stuff like that, and having his man cave, like, no, that, time, which I totally get. I'm definitely a person who doesn't want to be up under my significant other, like, completely all the time, 24/7. I'm a person who wants my space. I want to, that me time, something that we all need. So actually seeing that lifestyle in his home helped to settle me, and obviously just helped to settle Jasmine a little bit, but all still something ain't right, y'all. Something ain't right with that. Something ain't right with that. So like I said, I didn't have much on Kirsten, and Shaquille. They seem to have moved in, nicely. We didn't get to see them going into each other's homes yet. So hopefully I'll have more to dish on Shaquille and Kirsten next week, besides what the little bit of minimum of what I already have. But Dominique and McKinley. So I was proud of Mac for confronting Dominique, because at the same time, while it seems like Dominique is like, what's the exact words that I'm trying to put on? Like she's like she just was just talking about, it's too soon to basically say like if this is a perfect match that the professionals put together, but she can see why they set him up with her, and not really seeing where, I guess, where he can help to benefit her, if you get what I'm saying. Like I think she just feels like she has so much, like it's kind of like giving, like she feels like she needs to be the man in the relationship, and I don't even know if that's necessarily the words that I'm trying to use, but I just feel like she's just on this high horse of some sort, and taking all this credit for I'm this and I'm this and he's not that, and I'm here to help to bring that out of him, instead of it seeing it as well like what is he here to benefit me and to show me, and what areas and parts about him are the areas where I lack. You get what I'm saying? And so I feel like she's definitely been like, I don't want to necessarily been bossy, but like just on him. And so he was basically saying like, I feel like with you it's like a my way or like the highway, like type of thing. Like he feels like he can't be him. And it sucks, I guess, because she's like, basically, you being you is what I find unattractive. She was basically saying like attitude and like, what she was saying. Yeah, basically attitude is like a big, attraction for her, and him having this downer attitude about everything, and oh, I'm only doing this for you, and like that is just one, she's finding unattractive, and then as well it's putting her in a mood about things that they're going to be doing or whatever or whatnot. And I can kind of like feel, and I can kind of like get what he's saying though. Like at the same time, like this is like who I am. This is how I make of things. This is how, my humor and the way of going about it. And you're not really giving me much room to allow me, to be me. And I was like, okay, good job, McKinley, because it was definitely given like this girl is gonna be taking over and feeling like she just supposed to. But the mix up that I'm trying to get with them though is Mac. Mac basically, it's been like a nomad. Is that what you call a nomad? Somebody who moves that from place to place, right? So, before settling in Nashville, and then decided to settle in Nashville, and then he's been staying with family in their basement. So he doesn't have anything to show her of like who he really is. And it's now almost to me like she's just now trying to find every little something to just be like, I don't like this, I don't want to do this, or I'm just not like, yeah, like almost like she's just trying to find every reason now to give reason of it's not going to work or not even to end up being with him. But I can totally get, because at first I was like girl, like you are really coming down on him hard. And he was just like, well, basically to explain himself, I'm, I didn't want to, in exactly his words, and maybe he just should not have used those words. Because at the same time, if you were starting into this process and right, you weren't necessarily in a rush to, maybe make moves to finding your own place, because you were like, all right, if there's a chance that I'm gonna be married, then from here, what's the point of me opening up at least, somewhere with someone when we may be able to go ahead and proceed with moving in together and getting, our own place together. And she basically just sees that as him being, unsettled, not wanting to stay in Nashville, basically he might be there temporarily. And, she has no thoughts at all about moving out of Nashville. And so him not being settled, especially when she's dated, and I'm like, that annoyed me. I'm used to dating guys who have their own homes and blah, blah, blah. And by your own home, I don't know why I just felt like that she meant like own their own home. Like I'm just like, girl, if all these guys were so great and they were on their own homes, why are we here? Why are we here? Like, ugh, shut up. Like, oh, so I'm like, I was like understanding like where he was coming from. But then I feel like she did make a valid point, in the point of it. She's just like, well, I didn't want to basically like make any fast, decisions, as far as a place. I was trying to figure out the area that best suits me. But she was like, but yet you were ready to get married at first sight, basically. But you needed time to figure out where you're going to live. When I feel like, especially if you're renting, I get it if you're like really going to, like, for me, yeah, I'm gonna take more and looking at the area that I want to buy a home in, because I have kids. I have kids. I have them to think about. I'm thinking about their school, what kind of school system they're gonna be in, the neighborhood, stuff like that. If it's gonna be an entrepreneur, so the commute that don't really matter. But at the same time, I don't want to be so far away. Well, that may change. It's like, so I'm not going to just say all that, but it's just to say that I have reason for, like, if I'm going to buy a home, even like renting even, but especially buying, I'm definitely going to put in some thought and process to it. And with renting, maybe not as much, because it could be a short-term thing, and I'm growing at the same time. You don't want to continue to move your kids. But yes, obviously, when I make moves, to have to move to a place of living, it's more consideration I have to take than I feel like than Mac has, because it's just him. So where you have a less of a commitment, if you rent, you're literally just here for a year, you don't like it, you can just move on. Hey, your mother over here ready to drop 50K on you, so maybe you can go ahead and break your lease at 6 months and be good, if that's really not a place for you. jumping into getting married at first sight is a way bigger life changer than you moving into the wrong neighborhood. So it was like, dang, like she kind of like made a good point. However, I still feel like that she need to give that man some slack, and I still feel like it was just felt like it was just adding up to things that is reasons why she's gonna feel like this can't work and she doesn't want to make it work. And so when we see the previews for next week and she's already talking about some I'm not staying here, oh blah 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 blah, like y'all just moved in. So basically you're making these decisions based off of where he is in his life right now. Grow up. Like, grow up already. Like, ugh, like, um, y'all already know I was not big on Dominique from the jump, especially like her being so young, and I just felt like her mom putting her in this process, and then oh now I'm warming up to the process, and I just did not feel like where she was that she was ready for this level of commitment. And already because of she's not seeing the things that she wants to see, or her expectations aren't being met as far as where I guess where he should be in his decision and on deciding to stay with family friends for so long, now you ready to just jump ship. Thank you for proving my point. Thank you for proving my point that you weren't ready to get married because you ain't ready to work nothing out. So now that I done ranted on about them, I don't have much on Gina, and Clint, either. They moved on, from what happened with the whole body type situation. She has a dog. I know they moved in. They were talking about the whole dog situation. It looks like next week they're possibly even contemplating like what is like. I guess they could not come again. I'm not surprised if they're not able to get over this hump so easily. But it was just like Pastor Cow is just getting here. Y'all are just moving in. Like, what is going on, peoples? Like, while yes, I do feel like it's not gonna be easily for them to get over. I won't say I saw it as like it being the end all be all of their relationship. So clearly it's more. It's something else that's just going on. And hey, another one might be biting the dust. So we're gonna leave it off with Nicole and Chris, y'all. And I'm going to do my best. I'm not a dog mom. I don't have a dog. I had a dog, as a kid, and I did. We had two. We loved our dogs. We loved our dogs, and I still do love dogs now. I'm gonna get a dog. However, our boy Chris was very feeling it. All up, oh, he was feeling it, feeling it, feeling it. When basically the producers were telling them, like, in the apartment, they can only have two dogs. Apparently, he has two dogs, and then Nicole has one dog, so that makes three dogs. And he is in a complete depressed state about the state of his dogs if he has to leave them and him not being able to handle that. Heck, basically he can't even handle it, like apparently like he's really in full breakdown, y'all. And I'm like, okay, all right. And I get it. I know I get it, but I don't get it because I get it how people are, about the dogs. Like people are really like this, about their pets. And if anything, I just have to give it to Nicole because she handled, this, so well. And, she, was there and did her best, as far as like trying to calm him down and reassuring him that, they're going to make it work. They're, figure something out, and even sacrificing her time with her dog so that he can, have his dogs, basically there on a more permanent basis because, you know, basically separating from them is a big issue. Like it's a big to do. He don't like it. The dogs don't like it, even for short periods of time. Like it's really a thing. It's really a thing. But this is what it's showing, like what marriage is. Do I think it's fair? I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily how I overall feel about it. I'm still trying to figure out those feelings or whatever or whatnot. But I appreciate like it's 2 months. It's a temporary thing. And right, she was just like, hey, well, I don't want to be around, away from my dog. In order to, for you to be okay and for us to be able to have this marriage going, like she reached out to her dad, to see if like he could pay, I don't know if that's like stick around or because I know he said something about taking the dog to Florida and she's just like, no, that's a bit, much for me. We just need help with the dog. So it just sounds like basically she's gonna have help, possibly they may be switching the dogs out, every here and there, or at least her dog will be like close nearby so that at any moment at will, she can go and just spend time with her dog. And I really hope that because y'all know last season with these dog situations, like it's getting more and more interesting, with these dog situations. So he definitely does seem very, appreciative and thankful. And, they both talk about, that basically like, like this is what marriage is. And at the end of the day, whether it's about dogs, whether it's about, like it's about that compromise. And yes, when conflict, or not necessarily conflict, but when a wrench can somehow, gets thrown in the plans, how can we come together and figure out how we can, move in the best way that's going to be good for both of us. Comprom- that compromisation. So if anything, I applaud her for taking that step up because again, we know how everybody is about their dogs. Now, granted, she don't seem to be as as I'm not saying her emotions aren't in her dog, but his is definitely in his dogs. But hers is to the point where it's just like okay, you know, I guess she has support with her dogs, and maybe he doesn't. But again, they get separation anxiety. They don't like to be separated. I don't know if he meant the actual dogs itself. I think he was, and then separated from him is a thing as well. Like it was a lot for me, y'all. And I'm not gonna lie, cause I was over here like, yep, he got the right one. Cause I don't know. But my daughter was like, what would you do, Ma, if that was for you? And I was over here like, bruh, if you don't man up and get your shit together, like, but I say that because at the same time, like I don't have a dog. I haven't had a dog, in years. Though I've been talking over and over about me getting a French bulldog. I'm definitely going to get my French bulldog, but not in no apartment dog. I ain't getting no dog. Like one, y'all not about to be ODing on me for no pet fees and no apartment. And then at the same time, like I want my dog to be able to have a little bit of free range or whatever or whatnot. So my baby is on the list, she's on the list to get got or whatever. But so her having a dog, I think definitely obviously is where she could, kind of, meet him where he is, and be empathetic and be like, what, let's go ahead, put our heads in and just figure out, what it is that we're gonna do. And that's basically, like how that went. So next week, I guess, we're going to be seeing, these couples finish moving in together and they're meeting with Pastor Cal, how that's going to go. Do they have does Kirsten and Shaquille have chemistry? What in the world is going on with Dominique? Why she's not staying? Does she stay? And Clint and Gina, like again, what's the dealio with them? So y'all, as always, I always appreciate y'all checking your girl out, and I hope you would like this video. Make sure you give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, please bang the bell so you get notified when I drop these videos. And peace and love, and I'll see y'all in the next recap.